What is one thing you're so hid from you until later in the relationship? When I was in college, I had no money and shaggy hair, so I was wandering around the dorms looking for someone who knew how to cut hair. A cute girl overheard me and said, "Hey, I know how to cut hair." She gave me a haircut in the hallway and then asked if I wanted to go to Steak Shake. I said sure. It has been 13 years, we are married, and she still gives me haircuts. About 2 years into the relationship, she confessed that she had no idea how to cut hair but really wanted an excuse to hang out with me. She did it in the hallway and asked me to Steak Shake because she did not want me to look in a mirror and see the results. She is actually pretty good at it now, though. My girlfriend kept her dead sister a secret for 2 years. Her mom was very abusive to both her and her sister, but more so to the sister. I came home to find my girlfriend crying on the couch and she told me the story. Found the Babadook. Edit: do not watch that movie if you come from a background of abuse. I am a middle-aged lumberjack. And it made me shudder. Had to close my eyes. Triggered an asthma attack. One of my exes waited months to tell me that her godparents that she lived with were actually her ex-boyfriend's parents. I actually did not mind it until he moved back in. There should almost always be full disclosure, but this is a lie by omission. I can understand. That is such a weird situation that sounds like a cheap way to cheat with an ex. That is got to be a giant shit sandwich of a situation. Romantically, this mindset is why everyone assumed I was cheating with my ex. But the reality was I did not want to be homeless. It was shitty to be in a position like that and have everyone judge you for something you are not even doing. He could do magic tricks. We were together for 13 years and one day he pulls out a deck of cards and says pick a card, any card. Ducker got my card and everything, just as smooth as can be. Never did it again. Okay, story time. My wife and I play rummy for hours on end when we drink. One night as a joke, I tell her to pick a card. She picks it randomly. I separated the deck into 4 stacks, and had her place her card on top of the stack of her choice. Now I do know a real trick that sets up like this, but I am drunk and think it will be funny to mess it up on purpose. So instead of handling the cards I tell her to shuffle them all up and cut the deck. When the deck is in 2 stacks I tap the top card and say okay. There is your card. It was her ducking card. Needless to say, I never did that trick again. I did something similar, around age 14. I was deliberately doing a bad magic trick, asked someone to pick a card and show it to the audience, then shuffled the cards but accidentally started to drop or throw them all over the place. When I had one left, I announced it as the chosen card. It blew everyone away, including me. The girl who chose the card started to really like me after that, but for my next trick, turns out I really like guys. I found out that my significant other hides candy from me in her car. In fairness, she does this because she likes the occasional sweet, whereas I attack a bag of gummy bears like a starved hyena. I bought Girl Scout cookies and left them in my car. It will take me weeks to eat them if I even finish them, whereas if I bring them inside they will be gone in a day. There's also a chocolate bar behind the broccoli in the fridge. My GF now wife and I had been living together for 2 years before I told her I watched Star Trek. I was worried she would think I was too nerdy. It was the early 90s. I had a VCR at my parents' house and I would have dinner with them once a week, and then watch the latest episode of The Next Generation. It all came out one week when my GF and I were both over for dinner. We were getting ready to leave, when my mom says, "Are not you going to watch Trek first?" It was all out in the open. My GF immediately felt bad for me, saying she would never have judged me for watching Trek. She even watched a few episodes with me I had on VHS at my parents' home. She liked it, and thought the stories and themes were good. Trying to assuage my fears further, a few months later she surprised me, with tickets for both of us to a Star Trek convention that was coming to town. So we went. After about 30 minutes walking around the con, seeing autograph booths, vendors, and cosplayers, she leaned into me and whispered lovingly in my ear, "You were right not to tell me." I like the story of how she has no idea what she was getting into. So are you a casual fan or a full-blown Klingon-speaking member of Starfleet? There is an important distinction there. Yeah, I mean I love Star Trek, TNG and DS9 are two of my favorite shows. But I did never want tickets to a Trek convention. That is a whole different level of things right there. One is enjoying a show, the other is a lifestyle. That he hates sheets. About 4 years into the relationship he proclaimed that sheets wrap around him when he sleeps and he refuses to use them anymore. Apparently he has always hated sheets but just never mentioned it. Well, I am the one that hid something from her that I was a smoker. It got to a point where I did hidden it that long that to admit it would be pretty much lying by omission. And I really liked her, and that is the story of how I quit smoking. So, when I was younger, my group of friends had this tradition of messing with people who passed out, drawing on them, stacking things on them, etc. Anyway, one night I noticed there were a lot of people passed out, so I started bingo daubing everyone on the forehead. Then I realized I was the only one awake. Not only that, but I had bingo daubed the forehead of a girl I really liked. I did not want her to get pissed off at me for bingo daubing her forehead, so I concluded, in my drunken stupor, that I had no other choice than to bingo daub myself. So I did. Years went by and it was always a mystery who bingo daubed everyone. The girl I liked at that party had been my girlfriend for several years now, and I finally decided to come clean. She thought it was hilarious, but let me tell you, that ink they use in those bingo daubers is really hard to clean off your forehead. After 7 months she told me she snores and talks in her sleep. Like I could not tell the first night we spent together. I am going to ask her to marry me. Her farts make me laugh. That is the shit that makes her yours, man. All those little imperfections. It is the good stuff. And she has definitely got shit on you. But she loves you. I wish the best for you too. I hope you folks get married. My ex-girlfriend hid the fact that she was on bipolar medication before we moved in together in NC after moving from NY. She then stopped taking her medication, and then quit her job, leaving me as the sole income for the two of us. I was 23 years old, and this was my first long-term relationship. We broke up a month after she quit her job. That was a very long month. I was hiding a secret. My now wife did not know for the longest time that I did not like soccer or football. When I first met her, she had noticed that I came to class wearing 2 different soccer jerseys and thought I must have been a fan. They were both gifts from friends' fam who traveled overseas. She first approached me and tried to strike up conversation about it. Whenever she brought it up, I tried to play it off like I watched a lot because that seems to be one of the things she liked about me. The charade was up one day when I did not know what World Cup was and that it was currently on. Still not a true-born fan, but I make a point of watching it with her when World Cup's on and cheering for her team. Not me, but my parents. My mom told me a few years ago that on their first date they went out for pizza. My mom's favorite is ham and pineapple, and my dad says, "Great, I love pineapple on pizza." Fast forward years and years of my dad eating ham and pineapple. He finally confesses that he hates it. He actually ate shitty-ass pizza for 20 years instead of just admitting that he hates it. This was one of her life lessons for me when I started dating. That he had been temporarily sent to a place for troubled kids when he was younger. As a child he had blown up in class to the point where he had been screaming that he was going to kill everybody. Context: he was a little boy from Taiwan who barely spoke any English at the time and had just moved to the US. Some other kid in class kicked him and he retaliated. Teacher caught him and he could not speak well enough to explain that he did not start it, and was the only one that got punished. He did not like that and started getting agitated, and when no one understood he began yelling what he didn't know how to say. School called authorities and he got taken away. Stayed in that facility for a few weeks being fed meds and all that. He told me that the only reason he was compliant in there was because he was scared he would never see his mom again. He never told anyone else because he did not want people to think he was crazy when he was really only a frightened little kid no one tried to listen to. Dated a guy for 2.5 years and would never tell me why he hated Barbara Walters so much. He would even tweet her mean things once in a while. My friend is dating a farmer. No, they did not meet on Farmersonly.com. They did meet online though. Anywho, They have been dating for 5 months at this time, and he refuses to take her to his town and meet his family because he has had a lot of girls date him for what he owns. She waited a year and had no problems, and he finally brought her to his town and house, and his family is a multi-millionaire family. They own like 15 farms across the US. Their house is a ducking mansion. She was super scared to be in the relationship after that. They are still dating, but she tried to buy her own things and not depend on him and his money. He brought me to a house party just a couple of weeks after we started dating. He pointed out a young lady and said he had been dating her before me. What he did not mention was that he failed to tell her that the relationship was over. No wonder she was giving me the stink eye all night. I am also 99% sure he was seeing someone else before we decided to get divorced, since he was spending all his time at the place his new girlfriend worked. Furthermore, I am 99% sure he met someone else before they broke up several years later based on how they met and when they started dating. There is a pattern here. The pattern is that my ex is a shitty relationship partner who exits a relationship, finds someone else, and only then does his partner know he is finished. He liked to punch walls, and himself, when angry. Until we were married, our disagreements were always discussions, sometimes heated, sometimes angry, but never violent, and always worked out to a solution in the end. It was great. It was the way adults should argue. The first fight after the wedding, he put his fist through the wall of our rented apartment. He also slammed his head into the bathroom door. Why the change? I have been holding back my anger, but now that we are married, I know you can deal with the real me. Up until then, he had been way more angry and violent than I did known about, but had hidden it during fights so I would not leave. Yeah, we are not married anymore, for many reasons, but one of them being that I never, ever felt safe to disagree with him after that. That is exactly what happened with my brother. He always had a terrible temper, but in his early 20s he managed to get it under control. Met a great lady, they fell in love and got married. As soon as the wedding happened, he started showing her his true anger. One night, I did flown out to spend a few days with them, had a great time. Last night I was there. She commented the salad dressing he had made was a little on the sweet side. He grabbed the plate, threw it across the room and took off. Me and his wife got to talking and she made it clear that this was a pretty usual thing. Showed me all the things in the house that he had damaged in anger. We drank a lot and I told her she deserved better. Last year, they got divorced. I am so ducking thrilled for her. I told her she deserved better. Last year, they got divorced. I am so ducking thrilled for her. I hope you are still in contact with her. You sound like a great friend. His father is the Red Dragon for the KKK, which is a partial reason why he refuses to let me meet him. Why he did not just say so to begin with, I have no idea. My so suffered from psychogenic retrograde amnesia for 3 years. I met him in the middle of it. We were together for a little over a year and a half when the memories from the first 23 years of his life started to return. So, a lot. I made the mistake of agreeing to let her handle the finances since she told me she had experience in banking. I found out right before the divorce that she was racking up credit cards and would get balance transfers when she tapped them out on a new card and start using the old one again. When I found out, she already had 6 cards with over $30,000 on them. After the divorce I found out from one of her friends that all she ever did at a bank was being a teller, and only for 6 months. His eldest daughter, I learned about her 3 months into our relationship. I had known about his younger daughter different mothers from the start. He was very open about that. However, he did not know how to tell me about his eldest because it was going to be a difficult conversation. The mother of his eldest had taken off with her years ago. He had no idea how to find her. Within a year of our dating we found her. It was very rough at first because she had been brought up being told that her father did not care about her, typical parental alienation. Within the next 5 years her father and I got married and she opted to live with us. Now she is an adult, living her life on her terms. We are incredibly proud of her. Edited to wow. I am amazed at how this blew up and how many people are in similar situations. Going to take advantage of that to ask a question of my own. Can any Canadian lawyers tell me the process I would need to legally adopt the adult child in question? I am not rolling in cash, so I did like to save it for the actual legal fees instead of asking questions.